Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another cast. Guys, today I'm bringing you a 5v5. A 5v5, it was requested in my comments. You asked, and now you shall receive. I am a generous God. And actually, someone in my comment section said that I've been on fire lately, and that's true. I have been producing a lot of videos. But unfortunately, my community isn't aware just how on fire I am because, in fact, I have a huge announcement to make before we jump into this awesome 5v5 game. There's an event coming up in a couple weeks. I haven't confirmed the date yet, but I will as soon as we confirm the date. I will announce that as well. But there's a huge tournament coming up. One of the biggest events that Total Annihilation has ever had. And let me go ahead. Put it on the screen for you. That will be the Total Annihilation 2025 Escalation versus Pro TA tournament. That's right, guys. We're going to take the two biggest mods ever created for TA. And we are going to get some of the best players in both mods, and we're going to pit them together in an epic brawl to see who is the best of the best. Like, actually, guys, this is so hype. Like, you have no idea how hype this is. I've been trying to set this up. I've been working behind the scenes, like, trying to get all the pieces moving together and get everyone involved. It's been a massive undertaking, but I'm really, really excited. I think this is going to be an amazing event. And to be honest, guys, it's not really about which mod is better or which players are better. It's just more about celebrating the fact that here we are in the year 2025, and this amazing game is still going strong. So, guys, keep a lookout for this. I'm going to be streaming it live. You can all watch it and comment. And, man, that's a super exciting event that I wanted to tell you all about. But with that, I think with that announcement out of the way, more details to come. But, man, I hope you guys are as hyped as I am because I think this is just going to be a really, really fun event. It's going to showcase some of the best qualities and strategies and players and just dynamics from two of the best mods that we have in the entire Total Annihilation world. So, with that announcement out of the way, I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let's go ahead and jump into this 5v5. It was requested. People have wanted a 5v5 game, and here I am to deliver. This is going to be an epic one, I promise you. We got a star-studded cast of Escalation players. In fact, probably many of the same Escalation players that are going to be playing on the Escalation side in this upcoming tournament, including Harold and Lemminkainen, I would assume, and maybe Race. I think Race will definitely be in it. So let's go ahead and introduce the teams. The battle's already happening. I mean, the action has already started, but let's go ahead and introduce the teams before we jump too far into the game. We got Stagnation here in yellow. Starting K-Bot first, we've got Mr. Paradox, Major Paradox here in blue. Here's his commander. In orange, we have, of course, one of the best, or the best of the best, Mr. Harold. In light blue, we have... Well, no, that's... It says it's me, but guys, that is not me, actually. Need to check the player list and find out who exactly that was. And finally, the aforementioned Race in brown. So, that will be our Western team. And on the Eastern team, we have Mr. Tag Rock, the one and only, in bright green. In pink, we have Jammin'. Red, we have Joe, a.k.a. Walker, a.k.a. one of the most enjoyable and controversial players we have in this community. In purple, we have Gully. And finally, in dark green, we do have Mr. Lemminkainen. So those are your players. Those are your teams. Let's get into the fight, and I'll see if I can figure out who. So the way that the 5v5 replayer works is basically the spectator replaces one of the players in the game. So I think light blue, the person I replaced was Conflict Crusher. So let's just keep that in mind. So I don't want to take the glory where it's not deserved. I don't want to take credit for something that I did not myself achieve. But yeah, 5v5s are super interesting. The ability to cast them is something new with this version, and there's still bugs with it. The screen is broken in the 5v5s. We can't really see the eco tab at all. If my units get attacked, sometimes you're going to see a warning message in the top left, and you'll hear like an indication. But the fact that we can do this at all is amazing. Look at this nice battle between blue and dark green raging in the middle. Plenty of action already, only a few minutes into the game, as both teams begin to vie for dominance of the battlefield. And what a battlefield it is. This map is Wilderness 2, and Lemminkainen himself created it. Lemminkainen, one of my my most famous players, one of the fan favorites for sure. Blue frustrated because he's placed his advanced K-Bot lab a little bit close to the front line, and now he will pay. I think he will pay the iron price for his greed. Yes, he will. He will lose that advanced K-Bot lab in very unceremonious fashion. And with that, Blue clearly frustrated with his team for not protecting him from his terrible decision-making. Guys, building an advanced K-Bot lab that close to the front, it's, well, to say that it's risky in a 5v5, that's understating it. But guys, I really haven't talked too much about the map. Let me just make some comments on the map before we continue analyzing the actual game. Brown, Mr. Race, he's moving in with his own force. Of course, Race known for his incredible macro skills. But the map is interesting because you've got in the middle just this open valley type situation. But what makes the map interesting is that on the sides things are a little bit more treacherous. You have, of course, this the mountainous region, where you can only send planes or aircraft, and then you have these ponds or lakes. It's just kind of a ravine of rivers. And the issue with this part of the map, and it's designed this way, is that the only thing that can really get over this is the amphibious units, which means hovercrafts or things like Gimps, Crocs, units of that nature. So the east and west side of the map must be tackled in a very unorthodox way. The players can decide how they want to do it, but it looks like Green has decided he's going to go into advanced hovercraft platforms, and he will be pumping out hailstorms. But of course, you don't have to go into hovers. There's other options. You could always just go into advanced K-Bots or advanced vehicles, and there are some amphibious options. Of course, they won't be nearly as diverse as going into hovers and advanced hovers and even ultra hovers. Dare we wish for that? But the issue with not going into hovers is that your cons, you got to be able to get your constructors on these islands, which becomes sort of a Herculean task without hovers. So we can expect to see hovers on both sides, but I assume we will see a lot more than just that. I assume hovers are just one piece of cracking that puzzle. But right now, the thing that's interesting is that we have some of the best players on the edges here. So Lemminkainen here in yellow. In brown, as I mentioned before, we have Race. Green, who was that again? Mr. Tag. So Tag Rock and Race facing off on the right edge of the battlefield. Already, Green putting on a lot of pressure, but and then finally Lemminkainen. Excuse me, I said sorry. Yellow is stagnation. It feels like Lemminkainen is usually yellow, but maybe he took his color. But yeah, Lemminkainen here in the top left. So a lot of talent we have on the edges there, and in the middle, we also have some talent. Harold pushing through with these newly buffed tossers that shoot in a horizontal fashion. Holy cow. They are putting some pressure on the emulator. However, our red player, he is striking back with a vengeance. These Dominators, a decent counter, and I think this is going to stop Harold from actually killing the emulator completely. Brown moving through as well. Like I said, really, really great players. Race just absolutely keeping his side on lockdown, but Rock is not content to just rest on his laurels. I'm sure he will be putting as much pressure as he can on his opponent, and then stagnation, of course, applying his own pressure against Lemminkainen with his Bulldogs, but those Bulldogs are just going to get hammered down from a massive range, and then will be forced to retreat. So guys, I do like this map because it does allow for a lot of different play styles. Obviously, hovercraft is a big option, but air is a big option as well. These mountainous regions creating opportunities to send all sorts of airstrikes into your opponent's territory and really cause them to collapse in any and every way that air can. In this amazing mod, we do know that we've seen so many games won with powerful T1, T2, and even T3 airstrikes. So we'll have to see if this game plays out any differently. Harold's still putting on the pressure. Walker a little bit caught off guard by the newly upgraded tossers, as they will apply plenty of damage to this emulator. It might even go down. Harold putting on a clinic. But as I said before, hovercraft are not the only option here. Race now relying on some Pelicans as well. Let's keep an eye on that battle. But also keep an eye on the battle in the mid, because it is raging. This emulator, I wonder how many kills it has. 21 kills on that emulator already. What a show. Very nicely placed defense. And these emulators, of course, when they're not firing, will pop down into the ground and then become much harder to kill. Stagnation now moving through the west. And as you can see, Lemminkainen, he's got his work cut out for him. But now with the double barrel penetrators and the triple barrel Bulldogs, I think that should force yellow back, at least for now. Rock still applying pressure onto his opponent Race. And Race perhaps struggling to deal with all of this hailstorm pressure and the rebels. He does have some heavy laser towers though, and his teammates can offer an assistance. But like I said, plenty of combat and carnage happening all over the map at this stage of the game. And I have to assume that we are only getting started. Rock now going into fusions. I'm just checking out the player bases to see if there's anything incredible or anything noteworthy that I might catch. Right now, nothing too interesting to mention. Rock really causing some heartache for Race. It looks like Race didn't really go into the T2 hover game plan, so these rebels are the ARM riot control hovers, and man, they certainly are a riot control unit, but man, Race might be ready for this. He's got 2 sentinels here and a couple defenders. Will that be enough to stop this push? 1 sentinel already dead. The second one will die very quickly. Stagnation warning his team that Lemminkainen's penetrators, they are approaching quickly. But more importantly, I think Rock has broken through here. Race perhaps in trouble. Rebels just, being this riot control tank, they have so much health. They are very hard to kill, and they do a decent amount of damage at close range. But could the Dominators push them back? It looks like at the moment Rock will retreat. But man, yeah, look at Lemminkainen's double-barrel penetrators slowly encroaching onto Yellow's territory. Each shot taking out units. Each shot, or one shot, one kill. Every shot will take out a Crasher. Every shot will take out a Morty and a Dominator. Harold forced to send his Bulldogs to try and stop this. In the meantime, Rock continuing to apply pressure, but he hasn't broken through just yet. But it looks like Lemminkainen might break through. These penetrators looking a little bit overpowered now. Taking scalps left and right. Each shot so effective, and taking out defenses. Each laser is deadly, extremely deadly. So it looks like Harold may be a bit in trouble as well. Bulldogs are not a great matchup for the penetrators. And I really like what Lemminkainen is doing with the Jeffies as well. Sending those quick scouts in to give him vision. So one of the weaknesses of the penetrator guys is that their vision range is nowhere near as long as their firing range. But if you can get some scouts in the mix to mark targets, they become all the more effective. Picking off enemies from a massive range over a screen away on 1080p. But yeah, there's battles happening all over the map, and it will be difficult to keep track of all of them. Of course, we still have Rock applying pressure, but Jammin also applying pressure as well, and Harold with the Pelicans. But man, the penetrators right now, definitely the scariest army in the game. These things can single-handedly wipe out Orange's Yellow's army and Yellow's defenses without much protestation, without much resistance. The Western team feeling a little bit weak, a little bit vulnerable at this stage of the game. Near the 30-minute mark. The penetrators continuing to one-shot the defenses, but Stagnation has built a Berserker, the floating doomsday machine. But oh my goodness, seems like the penetrators don't even care about that. That Berserker sent to the Netherrealm. No trouble at all for those double-barrel monsters. And now the Western side with a decently timed counterattack. But there are a few ambushers and bulwarks. And Rock, I think he is ready. Rock now building the Tsunamis, which are sort of the hover equivalent to something like a Luger. Or a Pillager. Yeah, these penetrators right now, again, are probably the scariest composition on the map. Let's keep an eye on the Tsunamis. They're not extremely accurate, but they are effective if they can get vision of their targets, rain down that impressive artillery. goodness on their opponents. Right now, the game is still very, very close. Way too close to call. I couldn't even say who's ahead at this very moment. I do think Lemminkainen is in a great spot. It's a terrifying army to try and deal with at this phase of the game without any kind of T3 or air. But, yeah. Try to keep an eye on everything that's happening. We don't want to miss anything. For example, this light blue going into Ultra Aircraft Hangar. As I mentioned, guys, air may play a big part in this game. You do have these avenues of approach on the extreme southeast and northwest. As you can see, there's only a few defenders between Lemminkainen's base and Absolute Oblivion. Same thing with Rock's base. And Race's base, there's almost no air defense. Well, he does have some defenders, so I won't say there's nothing, but that would not stop a dedicated T3 aerial bombing or air supremacy campaign whatsoever. A couple defenders are just basically ignorable by T3. Race ready to push with his Zeuses and his Pyros. Ready to put it to his opponent, Rock. But I think there's too much defense here. That's really not going to work. All these bulwarks and the Sumos, more than enough to send this push back into the abyss. Stagnation's still working on Berserkers, and it looks like this penetrator count is getting thinned down. So nice job by Stagnation. Well-placed Doomsday Machine. Seems like he has enough to perhaps stop Lemminkainen from simply breaking through. Like you guys have seen if you've watched any of my other casts, all it takes is one player, one weak link to break. And as soon as the enemy team breaks through one player, gets into their base, that is often the end of it, because now they're behind all the defenses, and they can simply they can kind of continue to press the advantage, you know. Once one person goes down, it becomes very difficult sometimes to recover. The enemy team has got a massive vulnerability to exploit. But man, Walker with a nice army of Sumos. That is a like almost, it looks like 10. A lot of action happening in the middle. Great compositions on both sides. Harold using the shooters, the upgraded shooters even. So many Sumos. The shooters are a decent counter if they can stay out of range. Sumos have a pretty decent range though. It all comes down to micro. Lemminkainen's still on his penetrator spam, but seems like the Western team, they've been able to respond, and now Stagnation sending waves and waves of scouts into the fray, also going into Ultra K-Bots. One thing I'd love to see in this game is some long-range plasma cannon death and destruction. There's nothing more that I love to see than just massive howitzer cannons taking out bases and commanders from half the map away. What could be more enjoyable to watch than that? What could create more rage and salt than a well-timed Big Bertha ending all sorts of hopes and dreams that may have otherwise seen the light of day. But finally, it looks like Race has gone into his own hailstorms, and he's going to be giving it back to his green opponent. Surprised he doesn't want to go down here and kill those Geos. Those are pretty much undefended except for the upgrade. But well played by both teams. Just extremely close game, and both sides have been very effective on both attack and defense. Really good teamwork as well. The players rushing to help one another when they're in a dire situation. These 5v5s continue to deliver, my friends. This is such a cool new feature, and I'm so happy that I can cast these games now and give you guys the opportunity to watch a style of game that wasn't even castable prior to this patch. I mean, I guess I did attempt to cast them in the past, but now we can officially cast them. We can officially watch the carnage unfold. And it is beautiful. Walker with a clinic on the composition game plan. I love the sumos and the pillagers and the Mortys. Such a great team of units. Ooh, there's a tactical nuke. Very nicely placed. It will take out a huge part of Harold's army. At the very least, where was that tactical nuke? Try to get eyes on it. Red now going into T3 vehicle. And Stagnation still sending scouts. Light blue attempting the rapier game plan, but man, Rock was ready for it. He's got an entire army of fighters roving around the battlefield looking for targets, and light blue gave him some wonderful targets. What a game this has been. But look at this. Stagnation with 5 berserkers ready potentially to crawl their way or float their way into Lemminkainen's base and deal all sorts of death and destruction. Harold's got to be a little bit careful here. He's built very close to the front line, as you can see. His base potentially vulnerable. His Geo is at 1 hit. But the Sumo will be pushed back. However, Rock on 3 Talos here, in addition to all of Pink's units. That could be a deadly push as well. Let's keep an eye on everything that's happening here, because there is just so much to cover in this game, and it is nearly impossible to... there it is. Do you see how the players do this? Guys, this is... So the reason that players do this, it's intentional. Like, if it's this hard for me to see as a caster, just think how hard it is for the enemy players to see with all the fog of war. But there is that neutralizer that I mentioned earlier that nuked half of Harold's army. But Rock's push of Talos is impressive, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It's a lot of ambushers, my friends. That is a lot of ambushers. So much plasma artillery death here. Even the Talos stand no chance against those monstrous defenses. Keeping the northern team on their toes. But finally, Rock ready to enter into the long-range plasma cannon game plan. And I think we are all the happier for it, my friends. We absolutely love to see it. Please shower us with Big Berthas, with literally and metaphorically. Stagnation ready for his push. Those 5 floating Doomsday machines, but with this Demolisher and all the penetrators, I don't know if this is really going to make it. Dark Green just has way too much. Now his second Demolisher will roll off the line. And guys, these are the double barrel Demolishers, even stronger than the traditional kind from the days of old, back when there was no advanced factory upgrades. So many of the upgrades that Wotan has added have just been, in my mind, absolutely amazing. Triple barrel sumos and the double barrel penetrators. and the triple barrel bulldogs. All of this stuff just makes the game so much more interesting to watch and cast. And it does provide the players a lot more opportunities to expand their unit rosters. You do love to see it. Yeah, Escalation just keeps getting better and better. I'm really happy to see that it's still being worked on. So many cool units and features to enjoy. But right now, I don't think the Southern team is enjoying them that much. They are on the receiving end of all this. But they're doing a decent job of holding this off, even with all these Talos and the tsunami. It feels like Rock can't really break through. Race and Conflict Crusher doing a decent job of holding on. And of course Stagnation did try that push with 5 Berserkers, but the Demolishers and the Penetrators more than enough to keep that at bay. And with that, the game is still dead even. Neither side with a huge advantage that I can tell. Maybe if we could actually see the eco score, things would be a little more transparent to us. But just from an overview of the battle, I can't see that either side is massively ahead, economically or otherwise. However, Rock's first Intimidator is finished. And let's keep an eye on that, because the long-range plasma cannon gameplay has just begun. I think he might be the first player to have finished one, unless I've missed something on the screen. But I don't think I have, my friends. Stagnation's working. Oh no, Stagnation built an Intimidator. So yeah, we've entered that age. We've entered the phase of the long-range howitzers. And Lemminkainen now going from double-barrel penetrators to double-barrel demolishers. Demolishers basically effectively just an upgraded penetrator. So he is on the same game plan that he's been this whole entire match basically. And it is working wonders. He can simply overwhelm his opponent from a massive distance. Look at the range of the railguns. If you thought the penetrators could fire a long way, look at, I mean, this is just several screens away. These railguns absolutely causing a heartache. The Southern team, they've got to find a way to deal with this. So many demolishers and penetrators. It can't be allowed. There's no way that this ends well. But they are sending... so one of the ways... Guys, it's hilarious. But one of the ways to counter all these penetrators and demolishers is just to send waves and waves of small units. The Weasels... They're cheap and easy to produce, and they will waste the shots of these massive behemoths of death and destruction, firing their massively front-loaded damage all at a Weasel. I mean, it's just a diabolical strategy to deal with this. The Western team is just not going to let Lemminkainen get away with that kind of composition so easily. Harold doing his best as well, but again, the game is so even. There are now... Oh, wow. Look at all of the long-range plasma cannons. Holy cow. Who's doing that? Man. There's so much happening that it's impossible to keep up with. But you can see one antimatter reactor has been destroyed, and now a second one potentially in trouble. Harold does have a single Big Bertha, but that's not the ones that are firing. Ah, here we go. It's these two Big Berthas that Harold has. Well positioned, I think, to cause a lot of pain for the northern team. But finally, Lemminkainen, he's ready to approach this defense with his army. With those 3 demolishers, he might be able to take out all of this. But hold that thought, because Gully has made some defilers coming in from the north. The defilers are, of course, amphibious, so they can travel through the water. The demolishers targeting the Intimidator there. Battles happening, skirmishes occurring all across the map. Here on the east side, Rock with 2 juggernauts and a bevy of sumos, and there's also, of course, the Merles of pinks. But man, yeah, look, all of Stagnation's defenses, once a very formidable defensive line, it's all been destroyed. It has all been killed, and now Walker also contributing to this battle. Can they finally break through? They've been trying all game long, but a nice triple team push. Goalie Walker and Lemminkainen working together in tandem, but it seems like the southern team, despite Stagnation losing all of his defenses there, they are not quite ready to be pushed around. They are not quite ready to be broken. I'm really amazed that nobody has attempted any kind of bombing run this game that I can see. Surely that's got to change. Surely somebody is going to build a bomber and fly it straight into the enemy base. Usually this feels like the part of the game where that will happen, and catch somebody off guard, maybe even kill a player. Race desperately asking his team for help because he's got several juggernauts and hailstorms bearing down on him. Of course, he's got a couple paladins, but I don't think that's really going to cut the muster. But finally Light Blue with this T3 Air bringing the Harpies, these flame gunships, into the fray to try and hold on. Southern team has to stop Rock from simply casually walking into their base with these juggernauts. And the Harpies are a good answer. But here in the northwest, Lemminkainen continuing to apply pressure. Now he's on the Chimeras. He's lost pretty much all of his demolishers and penetrators, which is a bit sad, to be honest. But he still has the Chimeras to fall back on. But man, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at Harold. All of the Big Bertha spam, taking out the Berthas in the middle. And where will he send these next? Man, look at how far these can shoot. Now trained on the advanced hovercraft platform, will take that out without too much trouble. So again, we have reached that phase of the game, my friends. We've reached the phase of the game where long-range plasma cannons reign supreme. Now perhaps targeting the second antimatter reactor is Harold. Can he get it? There's so much happening on the battlefield. I don't want to spend all my time looking at this, but this is such a consequential event. I mean, if that dies, that would be so big. But Lemminkainen now pushing through with 5 different Chimera, 6 Chimera. He's also got air defense and bulldogs for good measure. What a push, and a couple juggernauts as well from Goalie. Can they finally break through after an hour? Will this be the push to end all pushes? Could this be the death knell for the southern team? Look at all of the lightning filling our screens and filling our hearts with joy, because that is an absolute fireworks show. That is a true display of beauty and carnage. Even the Demolishers don't stand much of a chance, but a well-placed Warden by Harold might be able to paralyze these just long enough to deal some serious damage. And unfortunately, the Big Berthas, they are vulnerable now. If the Northern team can get far enough in to capitalize. But man, that Warden is just really showing its stuff, doing a great job. The Juggernauts so far have not been able to break through, and Race has 4 Cerberus ready to go. I don't know if the Cerberus are actually amphibious. I'm not sure if they can walk through the water. But either way, they're all pretty healthy here. And I think Lemminkainen's push will be stopped. That Warden was absolutely crucial in keeping that push from simply walking into Harold's base and sending him into the next dimension. Into the nether realm from whence he shall not return. More Juggernauts moving through. But man, with all these Cerberus, I don't think those Juggernauts are really going to make it. Another Warden here on the east side. Harold, it's a very effective strategy. These Wardens absolutely clutch in this situation, allowing the southern team to hold on when it feels like a nearly impossible situation. The antimatter reactor, it's one hit. Another shot could kill it. Oh my god. Rock is trying to repair it. He's trying so hard. But Harold's targeting it. It's hard to tell what's going on. It's hard to tell. It looks like Rock may have repaired it, but all those repairs may account for nothing because the amount of fire this is under. Holy freaking cow. There is just so much happening on the map. The southern team, which has been on the defense for a long, long time, now finally they are under pressure as well. 4 of the Cerberus that Race had moving through the east, making it into Rock's base. Oh my goodness, it doesn't look like they were ready for this. These Cerberus are all very healthy. Oh my god. Could this be the push that actually breaks the northern team? But now there's a Krogoth coming down. Can the Krogoth stop the 4 Cerberus? They're all still pretty high HP, but now Daddy is here. Daddy Krogoth. He will not allow the northern team to die so easily. King of the jungle is this green monster, epitomizing the core philosophy. Overwhelming power and strength, death and destruction, and that push that seemed unstoppable, that push of Cerberus that felt like it might win the game for the southern team. Dead in its tracks. A single Krogoth was all it required to send that strategy back to the drawing board. Looks like a nuke perhaps went off there. There's a... Ooh, Vertigo's coming in. Harold has taken to the sky. He's now at T3. So much firepower. So much action happening everywhere. The Vertigo's doing their best to try and push back these Chimera. But now there's another push coming from the southern team. The first one was stopped by the Krogoth, but can the second one be more effective? 3 Demolishers. We've got Cerberus, and we've got an actual army of Merles. Could this be the push that wins the game? Let's keep our eyes on it. Of course, Lemminkainen and Goli, they're still in the fight, and of course, Though we can't watch what they're doing as much, Harold's Bertha is definitely contributing to this battle in a big way. Sniping defenses and production whenever and wherever they can. Look at all of the Merles. Man. Oh, wow. Two champions making it their way up the northeast side. As apparently Race was on ultra heavy hovercrafts. Oh man, the champions and the paladins. It seems like this may have done it. It feels like dark green. Excuse me, light green. Mr. Rock caught by surprise. The champions really finding that avenue of approach. The least defended part of his base. Man, these champions truly living up to their name. Very, very powerful option in this situation, and man, it just looks like Rock was not ready for this. I don't think he expected Race to be on T3 hovers, but perhaps that's all it took. Now there are chain reactions happening. Rock's base being torn asunder. His major fusion farms are in jeopardy. Finally, the Eastern team responding with some gunships and sumos, but has the damage been done? Harpy's moving through the north here. They're not quite making it there, but look, Rock is still alive, but his base has definitely been crippled. Most of his defenses are gone. The antimatter reactor, it's vulnerable. The Merle spam, it is more effective than ever. Once they target that antimatter reactor, it is going to explode in a huge radius and take out everything else along with it, I think. Another Krogoth moving down. But I don't think this one Krogoth is going to be enough this time. We'll have to see. The antimatter reactor really taking a beating. Goli and Lemminkainen attempting yet another push down the west side. Can they do it? They've got to get something done, because on the east side, on the east part of the map, their team is collapsing. They will take out Ultra K-Bot Gantry and the advanced vehicle plant. There are plenty of gunships moving into the fray. Could we have a base trade type of scenario? Oh my god, this is so close. Pink is now flying some transports down into the fray. What is in these? What did he put into these massive transports? Oh man. The Cerberus breaking through. Rock giving up. He will give all of his base to Walker. Pink bringing his commander down, it looks like, to try and stop this. Oh man. But now his commander has been spotted and he will die. So Pink is out of the game. That is that for jamming. And I think, yeah, Rock left voluntarily. No, he's still got his commander. He's got his commander, but for how long? Skynet looks to be targeting it. There goes Rock, and now it becomes a 3v5. Oh, a little bit of trolling as the northern team gave their base to Harold, but wow, what a show. What a 5v5. What a game that was. There wasn't any singular moment where the southern team won, but it did feel like Race's Paladins definitely paving the way. You know, he had that avenue of approach that just turned out to be absolutely impressively timed, and he does catch Rock off guard, and once his base is vulnerable, then they just absolutely shove the knife into the wound and keep twisting it, and with that, that's all it took for the northern team to collapse. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out. Keep your ears peeled for more announcements about this upcoming tournament, and I will catch you in the next cast.